Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Alrighty. Good evening, welcome to the June 6th, Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Teresa, if you would call the roll.
Councilwoman Flood. Here. Councilwoman Standard. Here. Councilman Morelli.
Here.
Councilwoman Wallowitz. Here. Supervisor Barrett.
Here. We have some minutes from May 2nd that were tabled. I'll entertain a motion to bring them off the table.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Discussion on those minutes.
Yeah, I would move to make one simple amendment to the May 2nd minutes, simply in reference to Resolution 129, that the town attorney and comptroller requested more time for procurement reviews.
Okay. I'll second that. Discussion on the amendment.
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes. And will you move the amended resolution? Deputy Supervisor Morelli?
So we approved the amendment. Now we're.
The amended resolution, right? We moved that one?
We approved the amended minutes.
We moved
Amended.
we moved the May 2nd. I made the motion to May 2nd.
Yeah, just amended.
Okay.
I'd make that motion.
Second?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes, and I also have minutes from the 16th. right?
Yes. And I would like to say something about minutes as well. Please.
On the 16th?
On the 16th, it was not referred to on the 16th, but I would like it to go into these minutes. And this is, as some of the council made some amendments, I went back through and looked at some of the amendments and listened to the audio. And as I was listening to the audio, I had noticed that and I sent it to the board. I noticed that the written and approved minutes of the 4/11 meeting does not have the words "the town board and town clerk" included in the motion for executive session. However, I changed the audio, I checked the audio of the 4/11 motion on the executive motion. This is a verbatim by Councilwoman Standard. I move for the town board and town clerk to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing a town employee matter covered under New York State Public Officers Law, Article 7, Section 105. I would suggest, since the 4/11 minutes have already been approved by the board, that I could make that as a town clerk note in these minutes. You would have to offer.
Does that need a motion?
Okay, can you read it again?
Yes. As I was,
That is what I was talking about.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to.
I went through the audio and that's exactly what it said, but the 4/11 minutes does not reflect that it shows that the town board and town clerk was not in there. It just said,
Right, it was very fast at the time.
yeah, so I didn't have that in there. It just said Councilwoman Standard made a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes in it, so it didn't have votes. So that's, I wanted to clear that up.
So we can move that?
Okay.
Either that or
All right, so
part
that
of these
would-
minutes, right?
What's that?
Well, it'll be a part of tonight's minutes. Or does that happen?
Or do we amend?
You can't
Well,
amend
yeah,
before
well,
11.
Oh, because you're.
Well, I guess you can amend the minutes of 4/11. I'll entertain a motion to amend the minutes of 4/11.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you. Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes, thank you.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to put the 5/16 minutes out there for consideration.
So moved. Second?
Okay. Discussion.
And I have one motion for a proposed amendment to those minutes. Specifically, Attorney McCarthy questioned Comptroller Hagan if he supported the resolution last week to get more time for procurement review. Comptroller Hagan responded that yes, he did.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
I'll second that. Further discussion.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Okay, communications and announcements. Just want to mention that as chairman of Public Works for Saratoga County, our committee approved an additional $3.5 million in funds for paving for 2022. There are projects in Clifton Park, Corinth, Greenfield, and Monroe. You will see some construction occurring on Grooms Road. They've been doing some prep work, but there will be delays from time to time until the work is completed. It will be completed by the end of June. That's the current schedule. It's 2.48 miles of Grooms Road from Knott to Miller. So watch out for that construction that will be happening. As we utilize funds to bring more projects forward from 23 that would have been done in 2023, bring them forward to 2022. That offers us as a county the opportunity to move projects forward again in out years. So it should have a cascading positive effect on infrastructure in Saratoga County for years to come. So anyway, that's the one project that affects Clifton Park. We also have some more, will be releasing more information about infrastructure investment that will benefit Clifton Park and other communities very soon. I'd like to congratulate the staff at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. They had a successful garage sale. Everybody loves a garage sale, right? And there were a number of people that sold their wares when I stopped by. They said business was very strong. It was busy throughout the time period, 9 to 3. And that was on Saturday. So I just wanted to congratulate them for another successful event. Want to mention that we were recently notified of a grant award of $250,000 to put toward replacement of the playground on the Common. I worked with Senator Tedisco on this grant a few years back, and we were just notified that it came through. So we've completed the initial paperwork in the last week. I want to thank the planning department for that. We completed a review of the playground a few years ago, and I think the next step would be to have that updated. So we have a brand new view, I guess you could say, in review of the playground on the Common. Obviously, that playground has meant a lot to this community for many years. We've spoken of replacing it in the past. It's a difficult decision. It requires a public process, which we will develop here in the near future. But there are different facets to it. The last time we did a review, we did reconstruct a portion of the playground, the area that is used by the youngest of kids that hang out at the playground. So, by all accounts, it's been a very popular improvement, but it is made of wood. It does have a shelf life, and we need to act and utilize these funds because it's not every day you receive a grant of this type for this purpose. So I do want to thank Senator Tedisco, and we'll move forward with the process and update the review that was done and move forward. As we're doing that, the Town Center Park work has begun. If you go down Maxwell Drive Extension, across from Staples, adjacent to the town's public safety building, you'll see some tree clearing occurring by the road. And that is the beginning of the construction of our Town Center Park. It's a 37-acre parcel. It's a piece of property we purchased from the Shen School System after a lengthy process that they went through to sell the parcel. And following a extensive, comprehensive public planning process led us to the final design for phase 1, and that's what we're embarking upon now. So we want to make sure that people can safely access the 37 acres and that there are some amenities inside the park. So right now you see developing the parking areas, the stormwater areas, which are very important and part of our responsibility to ensure that we're following all the state requirements on stormwater. There will be if anybody didn't get to see the process as it was playing out, if you'd like to see the final design for phase 1, we can certainly send that to you. But it'll be a paved trail that will go from end to end, from Moe Road to Maxwell Drive Extension. And it will be a lit trail with benches. We're a little worried about the lighting due to supply chain issues. We feel that might be delayed a bit, or at least delayed longer than we'd like. But we are installing the necessary services to provide a safe and fun recreational experience for people now and for many years into the future. And as part of that discussion, I said right from the beginning, there's a lot of opportunity with Collins Park. This Collins Park is, I think, underutilized. Certainly, we have our adventure camp. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, our adventure course, which is a fantastic amenity that is in the woods there. You may not even know it's there if you're utilizing Collins Park, but it's there. We have there's a softball field that's been there for many years. There's a pavilion that does get some use with private parties and day camps. So that, but I think there's more we can do there, and the plan was always to consider doing more, including eventually, hopefully, a connection from Collins Park to the Town Center Park. But what I'd like to do is start the process of examining what we might be able to do at Collins Park to make it more of an attraction and make sure that it's being utilized to its fullest. And I think the first thing that we should consider there is a splash pad. And I think looking at the viability of a splash pad at Collins Park, obviously it has to be reviewed and studied to get to a final determination if indeed it can go there for a lot of reasons. But anyway, I think beginning that process would be important, along with other amenities and improvements that can be made. So that's something that I'd like to move forward on, I'll ask Deputy Supervisor Morelli to take a lead role in these two initiatives as we begin a public process on both. Also want to mention a few weeks ago we announced a lifeguard class. It's no secret. There's a lifeguard shortage around the country. I was reading stories where some areas of the state were offering, the country were offering $2,500 bonuses for lifeguards to join their organization. And yeah, right, it's not a bad gig, right? So there's been a shortage across the board for lifeguards. Unfortunately, the number has just diminished. And during COVID, when a lot of the necessary training, well, it was occurring, but at a but in much lower numbers. So you might still have a training course, but instead of there being a lot of people involved in a class, there might only be several due to COVID restrictions. So the idea was to offer a free lifeguard class and take down the barrier of cost. We did the same thing with our EMT training. We're offering free EMT training as well, because again, the concern of shortages of labor in that line of work, and obviously that's something we can't sit back and let happen without trying everything that we can to increase the numbers of people getting involved in these areas. So I've been working with the county. We've put together programs to make these classes for free. James Altenberger is our instructor and somebody that came up through the ranks of our pools. He's been a great employee at our pools for a number of years. He's the instructor, and they just started that class tonight, so it'll go all week into the weekend. And we'll have more lifeguards out there ready to work. There were 30 slots. There was 20 in a class in Ballston Spa and 10 in a class here in Clifton Park. All the slots were filled. The Ballston Spa class has already been completed, and we're underway here in Clifton Park. So that started tonight, and I want to thank the team for working hard to make that happen as well. Any other communications or announcements?
I do. I just want to say congratulations to the Shenandoah varsity program for the men's and the women's lacrosse. They both made it to the regionals, so they both won section 2 for New York State. So I'm very proud of them. My son played on the team. Councilwoman Sanders' son played on the team, and he did a phenomenal job. But to have both the men and women both win the section for New York State for Class A is a tremendous accomplishment. So I'm very proud of them.
First time in history for the girls.
Yeah.
And it's been 6 years for the boys, so really quite an accomplishment for both.
It's amazing.
Very good.
Both teams are very special this year.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice weather's coming, a really good time for you to consider, if you don't already have one, getting a pet. It seems like our Saratoga County Animal Shelter is overcome right now with kittens, as everyone across the country is overcome with kittens. So on Saturday, the 11th, Animal Control Officer Terry Cook in the animal shelter and myself are having a kitten show. There will be kittens available for adoption. I know you will. There'll be kittens available for adoption. If you aren't ready to adopt a kitten yet, we also are in need of supplies. So if you can drop by, there'll be curbside pickup. If you can bring kitten formula, kitten pate, blankets, baby food, believe it or not, and toys. And there'll be a Girl Scout troop on the curbside if you want to drop something off. You have a pet at home, while you're out shopping, pick up something extra if you can, because with the influx of all the kittens, they also, of course, need the supplies to take care of them. And our fosters are also kind of overwhelmed with kittens right now, too. So there will be pets available. We hope you stop by, say hi, or drop by some supplies for us. Thank you.
I hope my daughter is not watching this right now.
You might end up with three.
Might have a big hit coming your way.
Tell you what, just drop off four to Deputy Supervisor Morelli's house. Just put him down for four.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, sorry. All right, put him down for four, man.
No.
Tom, you're covered.
She'll do
I
it.
got you.
Daughter
What's
will
her
keep
name
them.
again? So I can make sure I get it spelled right.
To deliver with the supplies.
I know, we'll keep them.
Cats are no problem at all, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. Very independent.
About 8 of them works well.
Yeah, very independent.
Tony has some.
I just want one brief
Yes,
announcement.
absolutely.
Just a reminder that today is D-Day. 78 years ago, the Allied forces stormed Normandy, and that was the beginning of the end of World War II. So just looking forward that we all take a second to reflect on that and remember those sacrifices of those folks in there.
Thank you. All right, we have an Eagle Scout amongst us. Blood, so we have a resolution. Will you read that, please?
Resolution recognizing Christian Blood on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. Whereas the people of the town of Clifton Park, New York take immense pride in the accomplishments of its residents and recognize the valuable contributions of the Boy Scouts of America to our community and to our nation. And whereas Christian Blood began his scouting career as a Cub Scout in 2011, earning his Arrow of Light Cub Scouting's highest award in 2015. And whereas Christian continued his scouting journey in 2015 by becoming a Boy Scout and contributed to his scout troop in roles as troop bugler, a troop patrol leader, and senior patrol leader along the way on his road to the Eagle Scout. And whereas in 2018, Christian participated in Sea Base, a unique scouting program offering aquatics programs for scouts interested in the Florida Keys. And whereas specifically for his Eagle Rank project, Christian worked closely with the town staff, the Buildings and Grounds Department, and the Stony Creek Park District leadership to identify the following needs for improvements: pedestrian bridge access ramps, trail segments for upgrades and rehabilitation, entrance signage needs, trail marking needs, park entrance signage needs, and tree species identification opportunities. And whereas Christian's Eagle Scout project ultimately involved upgrades to the Hayes Nature Park located off Moe Road, which included renovations to access ramps to 6 existing pedestrian bridges throughout the trail network, new entrance signs to ensure each park access point has its own park entrance sign, the creation and placement of trailhead signs matching the existing park entrance signage, the addition of trail markers, including identifying and marking an additional informal trail, the creation and publication of an updated park trail map, and establishment of and posting of a QR code on signage for the ease of visitors to digitally access the new park trail map, and the addition of educational signs on 10 labeled trees labeling the tree species. And whereas Christian's dedication to the Boy Scout oath, while using his time and energy to give back to his community, will serve to prepare him for a meaningful, productive role in society. Now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the people of the town of Clifton Park, the town board hereby congratulates and salutes Christian Blood on his achievement of the rank of Eagle Scout, and we are proud to have him as a member of our community.
Very good. I'll move that we adopt the resolution with the second by the board.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standart?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Holloway? Supervisor Garrett?
Yes. Christian, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
And we just want to thank you for the incredible job that you did with this project. A lot of time, a lot of effort. You built a team, had a lot of support, but you were the leader, and it's just a wonderful improvement to a park that many people use on a daily basis. Tell us a little bit about the project, if you could get into the details of it.
All right, so when I was first trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my Eagle project, I kind of was struggling to find ideas. So I kind of was thinking about what I did with my everyday life. And during the pandemic, I actually used Hayes Nature Park a lot to ride around on my bike, and I noticed that there were some things that I thought could make the park a little better. So I was like, I want to get back to the park, and so then I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do for my Eagle project. So I was, looking around, and I saw that the other entrances didn't have entrance signs, so it was just a path going into the woods, and that the trails themselves weren't really labeled. And even though it's not a huge park, I remember the first time my mom and I went into the park, we kind of got lost. I know it's hard to do in such a small park, but I thought that adding a trail names and updating trail map out front would definitely make the ease of access better. So I noticed those things to add, and that there was a lift during the bridges, which actually I believe someone mentioned in the town.
Yeah.
And so I took a look at that. I was like, oh yeah, that should be done. Funny thing, I thought there were 3 bridges to do. So, decent amount of work. And then about a week before I got all the supplies, I realized that there were 6 bridges. So that's a lot of work, but it was fun. And I just want to thank my dad. He was out there a lot, helping with me sometimes, even to the point where it was so dark that we had to have flashlights to go around and calling it a day. But couldn't have done it without you and all the support from the town. It was really a great help from all of you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, again, thank you, and I know your parents have been very involved in your scouting from the very beginning. And tell us, speaking of the beginning and to where you are now, all these years later, what have you learned from scouting that you think you'll be able to take with you as you go on to your next endeavors and challenges?
Well, there's always, learning how to tie knots, but
That's a good one.
yeah, I definitely say it helps my people skills, and like being in leadership positions in scouting has really helped me deal with people and realizing that what it takes to get someone interested in something or to someone to behave, I guess, is different for each person. So
You
you
run
kind of
for office.
but I mean, yeah, just like leadership experience was really helpful, and how to just be a better member of the community, give back to the community. Like I feel like if I wasn't a Boy Scouts, I don't know where I'd be. So I have a lot to thank for that.
Oh, that's great. And what is your next challenge, you think?
Definitely college.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Have you
UConn.
made any decisions? Oh, you did?
Yes.
UConn.
Yes, UConn.
Going to be a Husky.
Yes.
Very good. Do you know what you're going to study?
I'm going to study biomedical engineering.
Wow.
So
Good for you.
hopefully that works out.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're ready to put the time in to study, I'm sure it will. But no, you're still playing the piano?
Yes.
All right, good. Because every event, or just about every event, Christian's playing the piano over there at the church and providing a little entertainment, which is nice. So now I gave Christian a proclamation, nice framed one at your court of honor, and it was a pleasure and an honor for me to be there and to see you grow up to the young man that you are today, doing so much in our community. So we know you're going to be very successful. And again, we thank you for everything you've done. Thank you. All right, we do have a, let's see, resolution number 2. We have Glen Valley here, who's head of the Park District. Who will be speaking to the second resolution, but Teresa, if you could read that for us.
Just number 2.
Yeah.
Resolution number 149 of 2022, a resolution designating field number 1 at the Martin Jewett Long Hill Park as David Stattle Field. Whereas David Stattle served the town for many years as the chairman of the Long Hill number 1 Park District Advisory Committee until his death in 2020 at the age of 78. And whereas in this role, Dave carefully and skillfully cared for, maintained, and coordinated the use of field number 1, among other park assets, for many years. And whereas through Dave's painstaking efforts, field number 1 at the Martin Jewett Long Hill Park has provided a premier baseball facility to the Clifton Park baseball community for many years. And whereas Dave's devotion to the park district, the fields, and the youth fields of the Clifton Park are known and remembered by generations of young players at all levels who benefited from Dave's meticulous care and attention to the fields for so many years. Now therefore be it resolved that field number 1 at the Martin Jewett Long Hill Park is hereby designated as the David Stattle Field, and is further resolved that the Department of Buildings and Grounds is authorized to prepare and post the field accordingly.
Thank you very much. I will move that resolution with a second by the board with their approval.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Glenn, would you like to come up, please? How you doing tonight?
Thank you. Well, as acting chair of the Longfield and Park District Committee, it's an honor and privilege to speak before you, to remember and honor someone to whom we all owe extremely large debt of gratitude to the next big star. I first met Dave in the late 1980s when he volunteered to join the Longfield and Country Knolls Park District Committee. And we remained an active member for decades. And when I say active, let me emphasize a few things. Number one, Dave never missed a meeting. Having experience in park district committees over the years, they tend to be populated by people who will join because there's a specific issue or they're upset about a specific matter and they join the committee and we address that. And when that's addressed or it's resolved, they tend to drift away. Number one, Dave joined the committee without any agenda. He was going to do whatever he could do. He never missed a meeting. He served as chair for many years on and off. And finally, as mentioned in the resolution, why we are here tonight is that he single-handedly undertook to oversee development and operation and maintenance of the ball field. You know, the Longfield Park District is a huge park district. It has pools, it has tennis courts, it has trails, and it has fields. And Dave gravitated to these fields, especially field number 1. And the time and effort he spent in this regard is really nothing short of magnificent. He undertook working with members of the town, from buildings and grounds, parks and rec, and members on this board. And fields are tough. You just, like ice skating rinks, you just can't fill them with water, or swimming pools and just let them go. Fields are very tough, especially in this climate. And they physically would be out there week after week, month after month, year after year, laboring, hot weather, cold weather, weeding, leveling, raking, doing everything to make those fields the absolute finest they could be. And he never stopped. And in addition, he also volunteered to coordinate the number of teams that played on it. At the same time, trying to balance casual use for local residents. And if there's anything that you could consider a thankless job, it is that. Now, volunteer service on the Park District Committee and volunteer work can more often than not be a thankless job. And considering what they did for the community for 30 plus years, there's not enough thanks really to go around. What we can do here tonight is acknowledge our debt to him. And what we are honoring is not the physical labor, the hard work. That can be done by machines. What's most important and why we're honoring him, and I want the family members who are here today, we are honoring and recognizing his heart and soul, the emotion and the desire he put into that labor. That's what's worthy of our honor and our gratitude. So, to his children, to his grandchildren, remember, no, he was a good man. You had a good father. You had a good grandfather, brother, friend, family member. And that's what I want to honor. So, what we say here tonight will never make it to the ears of the generation of children and adults who play on these fields. But we can do something here tonight to help ensure that those who enjoy these fields and future generations will have some understanding and appreciation for just what he did. And that's why it's my honor, on behalf of the Longfield Park District Committee, to respectfully request that field number 1 be known as hereafter David Stottle Field. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Mrs. Dale, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, first of all, that was beautiful. I wanted to say thank you. I know he is looking down, very proud and grateful. He loves working on those fields. I don't know how many folks knew, but he actually started at the Commons, working there in the fields, and moved into working on them at the Longfield Park. He had the belief that if the field was well taken care of, the game was more special for the kids. And he certainly did that. So he definitely made it more special for the kids. We miss him. We miss him a lot. I'll say it's ironic that we have an Eagle Scout here today being honored as well, because he was big into the Boy Scouts as well. So I know that's very ironic, and he would love that. And if I were to get lost in the woods, I would want to be with an Eagle Scout. Smart little guy. So, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn, anything else that you wanted to say tonight?
I think I said what needed to be said.
Okay, very good.
I hope I did.
What's that?
I said, I hope I did.
Can you just talk a little bit about, your history with Dave and how long you've been involved with the park district?
Since the mid-'80s, 86, 87, he got involved. I've been involved since 1984, and Dave came on very soon after.
Yeah. So you two have had decades of service in the park district, so appreciate it.
Hard to believe time flies.
Yeah, it's really nice. Well, I remember talking to Dave many times when he was out there working, stopping and chatting about the fields or balloons or anything else that was of interest to him. I know he loved hot air balloons and traveled to do that quite a bit. But I would see Dave very often taking the route from his house over to the fields, through the woods, ironically, and he would be right over there working away for hours at a time to benefit the town of Clifton Park and many residents, young and old, that use those fields. So we do owe him a debt of gratitude. It's very difficult to replace people like Dave. It's very difficult to replace the amount of time that he invested in those fields. And as Glenn said, not only the physical labor, but just the heart and soul that he put into those fields. And the park district as a whole. I shouldn't say just the fields, but I know that was his first love. So So thank you. Thank you to Dave. I want to thank his family for being here tonight. Thank you, Glenn, for speaking on Dave's behalf and getting us to this point. We look forward to carrying out the wishes of the Park District and the family. What's that? Oh, go ahead. Actually, what do you want to? Sure. Very nice.
And there's also a plaque here that will be mounted on a stone behind the field, behind the backstop. It says, David Stubblefield, dedicated to the memory of David Stubble, who for 3 decades tirelessly volunteered countless hours of his time so that ball players could play and spectators could cheer.
It's
Very
nice.
nice.
Well done, thank you. And we'll give you a heads up before that is placed, okay? I know Dan, Mike Handerhan, certainly Dan and others in the department worked with Dave for many, many years, and I know he was always great to work with.
Yes, sir, 100%.
So thank you, and we'll be in touch when we're gonna get that.
I'd like to thank Dan and Myla and everybody for the support and getting to the point that we are now. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Very good. Thanks. Teresa, if you could start with resolution number 3.
A resolution accepting funds from the Rotary International Club and authorizing the Department of Buildings and Grounds to purchase and plant 2 red maple trees at Garnsey Park, whereas the Rotary International Club has offered a donation of up to $500 for the planting of 2 red maple trees at Garnsey Park, and whereas the town board, as stewards of the Garnsey Park, wishes to accept the donation from the Rotary to offset the cost of plantings of the 2 trees at Garnsey Park, and whereas Daniel Clemens, Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation, solicited quotes for the purchase of the 2 red maple trees, and whereas Mr. Clemens advises that Northern Nurseries, 115 Cordell Road, Schenectady, has 2 such trees available for a cost not to exceed $500. Now therefore be it resolved that the comptroller is authorized to increase revenues to the Garnsey Park capital improvements by $500 and increase expenditures to the Garnsey Park capital improvements by $500. And be it further resolved that the Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation is authorized to accept the quote of Northern Nurseries as lowest responsive quote for the purchase of 2 red maple trees at a cost not to exceed $500. A resolution to authorize paving of walkways between the lower quad baseball fields at the Clifton Common. Whereas Daniel Clemens, Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation, sought quotes for the paving of walkways between fields 7, 8, 9, and 10 at the Clifton Common, and whereas United Asphalt submitted the lowest responsive quote in the amount of $13,500 for option number 1 to include grading, compaction, and installation of type 3 binder mix asphalt with a 1.5-inch course of type 6 fine top mix asphalt at the locations as noted in the lower quad at the Clifton Common. Now therefore be it resolved that the Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation is authorized to accept the quote from United Asphalt for option number 1 per the attached documents, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $13,500 from committed fund balance to the general fund Clifton Common equipment to offset the costs of the project. A resolution authorizing the hiring of Jack Normandin and Robert Harold as 2022 summer help for the Buildings and Grounds Department. Whereas openings exist for seasonal help in the Buildings and Grounds Department, and whereas Daniel Clemens, Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation, has requested that Jack Normandin and Robert Harold be hired to fill the seasonal positions. Now therefore be it resolved that Jack Normandin, 10 Canterbury Road, Clifton Park, and Robert Harold, 585 Brooms Road, Rexford, be employed as seasonal workers for Buildings and Grounds for 2022 to be paid $16 an hour for the Buildings and Grounds part-time seasonal labor retroactive to May 23rd, 2022. A resolution authorizing the replacement of a pool liner at the Country Knolls Pool. Whereas the supervisor wishes to replace the liner at the Clifton Knolls Pool, and whereas Barton and Judas was retained to prepare job specifications and bid documents for the project, and advertised for sealed bids, which were opened on March 31st, 2022, and whereas Patterson Stevens Incorporated submitted the sole bid in the amount of $363,000. No, how about 36,000?
What's that?
How about 363,000, correct?
Yep.
Whereas the Bartle and
Expensive.
Judas has recommended that Patterson Stevens Incorporated be authorized to replace the pool liner for an amount not to exceed 363,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the pool liner replacement of the Country Knolls Pool is awarded to Patterson Stevens Incorporated, Tonawanda, New York, at a cost not to exceed 363,000, with a transfer from unassigned balance of the general fund to the Country Knolls Pool equipment, pending a review of the potential transfer of the pool from the Longco 1 Park District to the town. And be it further resolved that Barton and Judas is authorized to issue a notice to proceed to Patterson Stevens Incorporated for the acquisition of materials and supplies necessary for the project, which will begin after the close of the 2022 pool season. A resolution hiring additional seasonal staff for the 2022 Parks and Recreation Program, whereas the town board wishes to hire additional staff to the summer 2022 summer camp season, and whereas Myla Kramer, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, has recommended that the individuals listed in the attached Schedule A be hired. Now therefore be it resolved that the individuals listed in the attached Schedule A be hired as staff for the town's day camps to be paid as indicated on the schedule, effective immediately through the end of the respective season. A resolution hiring Amy Price Yeto as Summer Camp Health Director for the 2022 camp season, whereas the town board wishes to hire a health director for the town's summer day camp programs, and whereas the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, Myla Kramer, has recommended that Amy Price Yeto, 12 Briarfield Drive, Clifton Park, be hired as a position of the health director. Now therefore be it resolved that Amy Price Yeto is hired as health director for the town's 2022 day camp programs, effective immediately through the end of the 2022 camp season, and be it further resolved that Amy Price Yeto be paid $25 per hour for 6 to 8 hours per week from general fund summer recreation site directors. A resolution authorizing inspections of the Adventure Challenge course at Collins Park, whereas the town's Adventure Challenge course offers a unique aerial obstacle course consisting of tree climbing, zip lines, swing ropes, and related challenges for summer recreation at Collins Park. And whereas Project Adventure Beverly, Massachusetts offers proprietary design, testing, and inspection services to ensure compliance with industry standards for safety and reliability of challenge course elements throughout the Northeast, and has performed safety testing on behalf of the town for compliance with industry standards. And whereas Project Adventure has submitted a quote for the annual inspection of Adventure Challenge course in the amount of $1,855. And whereas Myla Kramer, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, recommends that the board retain Project Adventure to perform the inspection per the submitted quote. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor Barrett is authorized to execute the attached contract for the professional services done by Project Adventure Beverly, Massachusetts, for an amount not to exceed $1,855 to be paid from general fund Project Adventure other program supplies. A resolution hiring James Lang as a part-time animal control officer, whereas an opening exists for a part-time animal control officer, and whereas Terry Cook, Director of Animal Control, has recommended James Lang at 1 Woodside Drive, Clifton Park, to be hired provisionally for the position, pending civil service certification. Now therefore be it resolved that James Lang is hereby hired as a part-time animal control officer for the town of Clifton Park at grade 3, step 1, $19.71 per hour, budgeted from general fund animal control part-time employee, effective immediately. A resolution authorizing the purchase of control panels from Seaward Equipment for the pump stations in the Clifton Park Sewer District Number 2. Whereas Michael O'Brien, Collection Systems Manager, has requested authorization to purchase 2 control panels for the pump stations at Huntwood Drive and Westchester Drive, respectively, in the Clifton Park Sewer District Number 2. And whereas Mr. O'Brien advises that Seward Equipment 10 Corporate Circle, Albany, New York, provided the lowest responsive quote in an amount not to exceed $12,047 for both control panels. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the purchase of 2 control panels for the pump stations at Huntwood and Westchester Drives at a cost of $6,143 and $5,904 respectively, to be paid from Clifton Park Sewer District Number 2 Sewer Contractual Equipment. A resolution authorizing the open space coordinator to submit a grant application for a federal grant administered by New York State Department of Transportation Scenic Byways Coordinator Office of Environment for a project to update the corridor management plan for the Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway. Whereas Eric Hamilton, Executive Director of the Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway Coalition, has requested that the town assist the coalition in applying for a federal grant to update the corridor management plan for the Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway, and for the town board to act as lead agency and sponsor for the grant. And whereas the project will require a 20% local match estimated to be $25,778, and whereas the Mohawk Scenic Byway Coalition and partners have committed to contribute at least $10,000 towards the required local match, with funding efforts ongoing to increase this amount. Fundraising efforts, Whereas the project will be a public planning project which will culminate in a public plan document and will not include any construction along the byway. And whereas the town board supports the project and wishes to commit to local funding in order to proceed, now therefore be it resolved that the open space coordinator, Jennifer Vigiani, is authorized to work with Mr. Hamilton to prepare and submit the grant application for $96,973 for the byway project. And be it further resolved that the town board commits to act as lead agency and project sponsor, and the supervisor is authorized to sign documents relating to the grant application as needed. And be it further resolved that the town agrees to funding up to $15,778 for the project as the local match commitment. A resolution issuing a permit to serve alcoholic beverages for the attached special alcohol use permit application, whereas Elizabeth McCarthy, 70 Fern Lane, Clifton Park, has submitted a special alcohol use permit request to the Clifton Park Senior Community Center to be allowed to serve alcohol in the form of beer and wine for a gathering on June 25th, 2022, noon to 3 p.m. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the special alcohol use permit request submitted by Elizabeth McCarthy for a gathering at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center on June 25th, 2022. A resolution contracting for paving services for the town's highway department, whereas the highway department is piggybacking off of paving services contract 20PWP-SR46R entered into by the County of Saratoga, and whereas quotes in the attached submission from the highway superintendent are not exact, as tonnage, time, and unforeseen issues may arise affecting the quote. Now therefore be it resolved that the highway superintendent is authorized to enter a piggyback agreement with Evolution Construction Services, Mechanical, New York, for Saratoga County, contract 20PWP-SR46R in an amount up to $2,275,000, with invoices to be paid from highway paving, blacktop, and highway other contractual. Yes. A resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore. Whereas a project, the CMAQ Low Road Multi-Use Path Gap Closure, Town of Clifton Park, is eligible for funding under Title 23 U.S. Code as amended, that calls for the apportionment of the costs such program to be borne at the ratio of 80% federal funds and 20% non-federal funds. And whereas the town board desires to advance the project by making a commitment of 100% of the non-federal share of the costs of both construction inspection. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the above subject project, and it is further resolved. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the comptroller to pay in the first instance 100% of the federal and non-federal shares of the cost of both construction and construction inspection work for the project or portions thereof. And be it further resolved that the sum of $150,122 was appropriated by resolution number 100 of 2021 and made available to cover the costs of participation in the design and right-of-way acquisition phases of the project. And is further resolved that the additional sum of $910,000 is hereby appropriated from the unassigned fund balance and made available to cover the cost of participation in the construction and construction inspections of the project. And therefore be it resolved, and also be it further resolved that in the event the further full federal and non-federal share costs of the project exceeds the amount appropriated above, the town board shall convene as soon as possible to appropriate said excess amount immediately upon the notification by the New York State Department of Transportation thereof. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, or reimbursement requests for federal aid and or Monticelli aid on behalf of the town with the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the advancement or approval of the project and provided for the administration of the project, the municipality's first instance funding of the project costs and permanent funding of the local share of federal aid and state aid eligible project costs, and all project costs within appropriations therefore are not so eligible. And it is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be filed with the New York State Commissioner of Transportation by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the project. And it is further resolved this resolution shall take effect immediately. A resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with National Business Technologies for a digital copying system for the use by the town clerk's office. Whereas town clerk Teresa Grauster has requested that a new digital copier printer for use by the department, and whereas the proposed cost for leasing the copier has been budgeted for the attached schedule, and whereas quotes were received with National Business Technology submitting the lowest quote of $135 per month. That's $149.41 per month for 36 months. Now therefore be it resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to enter into a lease agreement with National Business Technologies for a Kyocera 3352 CI copier printer system for 36 months for a lease plus service charge totaling $149.71 per month plus 0.0057 for black and white copies exceeding 2,500 pages and 0.047 for color copies to be paid from town clerk copier.
Well, that's a little small.
Yeah.
Very good. Any questions on the resolutions? Okay. If you read the headings, please, starting with number 3.
Resolution number 150 of 2022, a resolution accepting funds from the Rotary International Club and authorizing the Department of Buildings and Grounds to purchase and plant 2 red maple trees at Barnsley Park.
Well, it's a very nice donation. Dan, anything you want to add here?
Just briefly, this is Mr. Eric Hamilton spearheading this. He picked a spot, a couple trees, so as soon as we accept the donation, we can purchase them and he can dig some holes.
Make sure you get them a nice shovel.
Yeah, oh yeah, the top of the line shovel. Fit on his bicycle.
Yeah, thank you, Eric, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 151 of 2022, a resolution to authorize paving of walkways between the lower quad baseball fields at the Clifton Commons.
All right, this is a job that the baseball folks had requested as part of an upgrade to that area of the common. Dan, if you could talk to this a little bit.
Yeah, this is in the lower quad fields where the younger kids play. The concession stand in the middle, and there's 4 fields. Right now, there's one section that's blacktop. The other 3 wings are pea stone, and each one of them has a catch basin or 2 in the middle of it. That all pea stone just falls into the catch basin. We're constantly backing it out. So this is going to be just a little strip connecting them all together, going past these catch basins and grading everything in. So it'll be a smooth area for everybody to walk, and the water will actually go into the catch basin instead of stone. And they can do their job over there, keeping the fields drier. So it's 3 little wings around that area. That's what this is.
And you had two options.
Yes.
2.5 course binder and 3-foot fine top only. Why are you recommending the first?
So the 2-course system is a better system all the way around, and for the price difference between all the different quotes that we had, you're getting a better quality of blacktop with a binder course and then a fine top. It will last a lot longer. It's sturdier, it's tougher, it's a better way to go. And so between the different companies, it was really very minimal cost to get a much better job.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions for Dan? Okay. Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 152 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the hiring of Jack Normandin and Robert Carroll as 2022 summer help for the Buildings and Grounds Department.
Well, we did lose one person on the seasonal working end of things, and we'll be losing another here tonight as well, or at least for the most part. So, so we were recruiting for more folks to work. You want to just talk to this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. We lost one, like you said, and thank you for the support of the board for letting us start post-dating this resolution, because we really need him. Jack's doing well so far, and so he's here. Robert is in high school. He can start in a couple of weeks, so maybe we get a younger guy who might start returning, because a lot of these guys come back year after year, guys and girls, and they're all starting to be graduating college now, and will start their careers and probably won't want to be pulling garbage cans and weed whacking for a living. At least their parents won't want them to, after all the money they spend on college. So it'd be good to get some younger people in here, and so yeah. So Jack is doing well. Robert, I think, will do well. I met with him, and he said that a few more resolutions, and they'd be losing James for most of my help here too. And
Yeah.
always looking. And a matter of fact, a few hours ago, I just had a resignation from a guy at the golf course, one of my seasons. So I'm looking for that one now too. We had some family problems and can't work any longer. So I'll be a full-time guy over there now too. So it's been an interesting year for help, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's.
It's not just me. I know that. It's definitely the way it is these days. Tough.
And there's no free training class we can offer.
No,
so.
well, we could.
Right.
See how to pull garbage bags.
All right. Well, we're very pleased that one of the two young men has started and doing well, and we'll get that other job posted right away.
Yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
All right.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 153 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the replacement of pool liner at the Country Knolls Pool.
All right. So this has been an interesting project to get done. Pool liners have not been an easy thing to get done anyway, but particularly through the pandemic. Coming out of the pandemic, we only had one bid, but on the whole, based on past costs, the bid was not outrageous, I would say. I would say it was at least competitive. And what I'd like to do is lock in the quote that was submitted, lock in the work getting done as soon as the pool closes, so we can get that scheduled and be far enough in advance. It wasn't something that I thought we should do prior to the season beginning, because with the supply chain issues and people ordering different things and then finding out their order wasn't going to ship when they expected or outright canceled, whatever the case may be, contractors pulling back from bids that they put in. We've had that experience as well. I didn't want to get to a point where we began work on taking out the liner and then finding, oh, we can't get the material or we can't get the contractor or whatever the case may be. So much better to wait till after the season. I think we can get through the season hopefully without too much trouble. And then at least we'll have peace of mind that season's over and we can get right to it they can get it done and order everything well in advance. So, anything you want to say on this? Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to add that Patterson Stephen has done a couple of pool liners for the town. They do nice work. They're easy to deal with. Leo usually heads up the jobs. He's great to work with, very upfront and helpful with everything. I don't see any reason to believe that they won't do another fine job on this pool up there.
How old is the liner that's in there now?
20,
Ooh, a little less than 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, a little.
I think you're supposed to get about 12 years out of
That's
them.
what I was wondering, how long do they last?
12 to 15, depending on the thickness of the vinyl. So we've gotten 5, 6, probably above and beyond.
Well, maybe a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, we
But
were
it's
looking into
good.
this years ago, correct? We started having issues
We've been
back in
working on this for a
2018,
year or so,
2019.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't we have an engineering review done back then from Barton and Judas? Did they look at this in 2019, I think it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get there with them.
Anything you want to mention on this, Glenn? Or?
Yeah, look, I think we need a liner. The pool needs a liner. It's overdue for a liner. I think the last one went in about 20 years ago. It was the first liner done for any of the pools. The Park District funded that original liner. It worked tremendously over the years, but it's way beyond its useful life. So you have to start from the point that we have to do this. The longer, the other problem with is a pool leaks, it erodes the dirt and the support behind the walls. So the longer you have water seeping out from the pool walls, you undermine the sand, the dirt that provides pressure for those walls to withstand the pressure of the water. So if you ever do delay this beyond a certain point, you can wind up with a wall collapse, which is a huge problem. So it has to be done, and it really has to be done now. And the last time we did the lineup, and we packed in dirt and pressurized the dirt behind that wall. So we hate to see that erode any further than it.
Well, that's part of the thing. We don't know what's going on under there. I mean, the pool is old.
The pool was built in 1968.
Yeah, Locust Lane was 62. Barney was right in there. So
concrete block walls.
Right. So the pools are getting aged, and we don't know everything that's going on behind the walls. That's for sure. Yeah.
But you are losing water in the pool, correct, because of those leaks, and you have been for years. Do you know how much water you lose estimated per season?
No, I couldn't possibly tell you. No, that'd be something Brian would probably know better than me. In nature, so overnight has been the rule for the last year or so.
Yeah.
On the whole pool.
There's no question it's leaking.
Yeah. Right. I have a question about the, if you could elaborate, either Tom or Bill, pending review and this first resolved. It states pending a review of the potential transfer of the pool from the Long Hill 1 Park District to the town. Are we buying the pool? What is that?
Well, we've had some discussions. Glenn has approached us this year about the possibility of changing the relationship between the pool, the Park District, and the town, and how that might look. Really not sure yet. Discussed some ideas, but haven't got to a final solution. But yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
I think we have gotten to the point. I mean, there's a long history here, and I don't want to belabor it, but I think certainly we're at the point now where we have to take a look at the available options that can ensure the pool continue to operate for coming years. I think the pool, it is time for the Park District now to step back. The Park District came in at the beginning, and over the course of the last 20 years probably has put close to $1 million into that pool. When the Park District assumed operation, it sort of evolved from the Civic Association, which operated it with Mr. Van Patten originally to ensure its operation. that point, it was more of a community-based pool that was built for that development, actually. Over the years, in the last 20 years, the pool membership has expanded exponentially. The geographical region that the pool attracts members from goes even not beyond the park district, beyond the town itself. So I think it's time, I know it's time for the park district and the town to look at available options that will permit more effective, efficient, and the financial support that the pool needs. I think it's unfair to the residents of the park district to ask them to continue to shoulder things like capital improvements that are necessary to keep that pool in operation. It's just unfair. The park district, we have a lot of stuff. We have tennis courts, we have playgrounds, we have trails, and a pool operation is really something that we need to step back from now. I don't know that the appropriate avenue is a sale of the property to the town. It may be in our mutual benefit to have the park district turn over, have a lease, an operating lease that permits the town to operate the pool, take the revenue from the membership, and continue operation. But it's a ground lease, so to speak, that would require also capital improvements. So that's one option. I think there needs to be a change, and I'm not sure what would be necessarily the best. So, I'm not sure that transfer is the best in my opinion.
I'm just wondering if that potential, this potential transfer, if that's why this is not going out, being bonded for the work as opposed to taking it from our general fund. I don't know, Mark, if you can address that. I mean, for us to take money from our general fund, put it into a park district, is that even allowed?
The town, like right now, we are advancing funds right now for Riverview Landing, our sewer district. So, and if nothing happens, then the Long Hill 1 Park District would have to bond to pay the pool line.
So this is just strictly pending this potential transfer. I mean, or we're just going for it and we're paying for it.
We need to lock in the job. We need to lock it in to make sure that we've got a contract with the contractor and we're going forward and we have it locked in. And so paying for it up front is the best way to do that at this point until we complete discussions and decide what direction we're going to move with regard to the park district. So that's the reasoning behind it. And, this job needs to get done. So we need to lock this in and get a plan, get the supplies ordered. Hopefully that won't be an issue and move forward.
And does the 363, does that include Barton and LaJudas with their oversight, or will that be a different resolution?
I believe that the engineering is not included at this point in time. But the 363 is for Addison Stevens, correct, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's true. Part of this quote is also for some of the repairs that may be needed structurally. There is part of this full number, got some work for repairs once we pull the liner out and see what's going on. And a pretty decent amount too, but then there's another part where, depending on what it is above and beyond, how much per square foot to do too. It's all kind of figured in there. We can't see what's in there. It's hard to see through the liner. Wish I could. But the water is going somewhere under there, and hopefully it hasn't caused a big problem.
Right.
I don't think it has yet. We're just in time.
Aside from this being such a huge number, I'm just curious why this wasn't added to the budget. I know prior to our discussions on the 2022 budget, it was mentioned that we would be looking at the spool liner, so I'm just wondering why this was not included in the budget.
Timing.
Thank you.
All righty, any other questions at this time? Okay.
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 154 of 2022, a resolution hiring additional seasonal staff for the 2022 Parks and Recreation Program.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Milo, we have a few folks we're bringing on. Are we ready for the camps?
We
Won't be
are.
long.
We are. We're continuing to get registrations in, and full day camp. Many of the weeks are close to being filled, if not filled. Half day camp, we still have registrations coming in, and this will hopefully be the last of our camp hiring that will be all set for the year.
Except for the next resolution. Which I'm very happy about. It's great to
After tonight.
keep Amy, after tonight, keep Amy and Amy Price, who does a great job for us.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Any discussion? Okay.
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 155 of 2022, a resolution hiring Amy Price Yotto as Summer Camp Health Director for the 2022 camp season.
So moved.
Second.
So we need a health director for each camp season, and Amy Price, is stepping up to help us this year, right?
Yeah, she's actually worked with us for well over a decade, training our camp staff. And so it really seems kind of a natural fit for her, since she's worked with us for so long and she's very well aware of the needs that we have at camp, for her to step in as health director.
Right. Yep. That should be a seamless move for her, and we appreciate her working with us again this year. Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 156 of 2022, a resolution authorizing inspections of the Adventure Challenge course at Collins Park.
All right, so we appropriated some funding for the course earlier this year, right?
Yeah, we have, from last year's inspections, some things that we needed to work on, and we had that earlier this year. And so this is for the annual inspection, making sure that everything is, anything that needs to be replaced, like staples on the tree where participants use to climb up, that the trees, as they grow, the staples become smaller and smaller. So various things like that, they look at to make sure that we're set for the season. And Project Adventure has been fantastic to work with this year and last year. So this is just for our regular annual inspection.
Discussion, questions? All right, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 157 of 2022, a resolution hiring James Lang as part-time animal control officer.
So moved.
All right, so Mr. Lang has been with us this year as a seasonal employee, and connected he and Terry recently, as he said he was interested in animal control, and the timing was perfect. So Terry, I'm sure you have a long presentation for us tonight.
Extremely. It's over though. Welcome aboard.
All right. I think that James has been working for Buildings and Grounds and Dan Clemens. He'll continue to do that, just on a more limited basis. He'll be working for animal control anywhere from 20 to 26 hours a week, right, Terry? And then the rest of the 40-hour week, he can work with Buildings and Grounds at the transfer station. We've spoken about this, and you're up for a challenge. And I know you're eager and willing to learn, and we look forward to having you on the animal control team. So, well done.
Congratulations.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 158 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the purchase of control panels from sewer equipment for the pump stations in the Clifton Park Sewer District Number 2.
Mike?
This is, as you know, the board graciously allowed us to move forward with some ARPA funds for the generators for Crescent Waste and one generator in Clifton Park Sewer District Number 1. And during the process, there's extensive electrical reconfigurations that have to happen for each pump station, which is going on now. And two of the pump stations, their panels are just, they're old wooden boxes with wires hanging out. They're dangerous. And it occurred to me while we were looking at all this stuff that these are items that we could have replaced as part of this project and making room on the racks that the engineers are speccing. It seemed like a no-brainer to do it. So I got prices, and seaward equipment was substantially lower than the rest. And each panel has to be custom built for the amp draw and the existing conditions there. So it seemed like a logical thing to do. We have the money in this year's budget to do it. And it'll allow us, they reconfigure all this electrical, we can get rid of all the old, really dangerous stuff, and we'll have all new stuff at these two pump stations. The rest of them, their panels have been upgraded before we acquired the sewer system, so they're in good shape.
Right.
That's that.
Okay.
We'll have generators in May of next year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that is. Wow.
They're working on an alternative. So they're looking at maybe another brand.
Just amazing.
Trying to get, yeah.
Talk about supply chain woes. Wow. All right. Any questions from Mike?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 159 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the open space coordinator to submit a grant application for a federal grant administered by New York State Department of Transportation Scenic Byways Coordinator, Office of the Environment, for a project to update the corridor management plan for the Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway.
So moved.
Second.
So I want to thank Eric Hamilton again here on the agenda for this opportunity. And I know Deputy Supervisor Morelli has been working on this, as well as Jen Vigiani. But anything you want to say on this?
I'm going to ask John to comment on it.
Yes, so just note that the Mohawk Scenic Byway is a regional community endeavor. It's a 501c3. It started, I think, with the original application process in 1998. The corridor management plan was done shortly thereafter, and the management plan addresses long-term objectives of the scenic byway. And some of the major themes envisioning and goals include stewardship, marketing, promotion, and tourism for the region, specific to the transportation corridor amongst the communities, and promoting our agricultural heritage and the Erie Canal theme. And the corridor management plan is in need of an update. I was reviewing the original management plan that I was 24 at the time in the city of Cohoes as a new planner, actually working on that back in the day. So it was couple decades ago, and looking at some of the goals at that time, it was to develop a website for the scenic byway, a logo. We're well beyond that. It was engaging cyclists in promoting the area. And you just have to go to Riverview Road today and see the amount of cyclists that travel that corridor as part of that scenic byway. So it's time to come up with a new set of objectives and strategies to bring this corridor to the next level of promotion and develop a new strategies to measure the key performance indicators going forward for the next 2 decades.
Yep, very good. We look forward to partnering with you, Eric, and the Byway to get this done and keep the momentum going. All right, Christie?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanhope?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 160 of 2022, a resolution issuing a permit to serve alcoholic beverages for the attached special alcohol use permit application.
Yeah, that's for the Clifton Park Senior Community Center.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanhope?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 161 of 2022, a resolution contracting for paving services for the town's highway department.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Helen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you're representing Highway tonight?
I am, yes.
Okay.
School, so I'm here. So as it says in the resolution, we are going off the county contract with piggybacking. We would like to hire Evolution, I wrote some notes, so I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Evolution under the county contract was the lowest bidder for the milling and paving services. They primarily received their product from Troy Sand and Gravel, which is who we will be using. It was the lowest bid on the county asphalt contract. They have performed work for us previously. We had a sweeping contract with them, and they more than exceeded what we had planned with them, and they did it in a shorter period of time. Fantastic group to work with. They have done work for the towns of Half Moon, Malta, Boston Spa, and others, and we've heard very good things. We have been to, Dan and a couple of our people have been to other municipalities to see their paving work, and it's very nice compared to what we have been getting the past couple of years. Our number one issue is always the driveways and curbs. Where applicable and adequate drainage is available, we would place swale gutters, which is our current specification for roads and in flat areas. The asphalt will be purchased off of the county contract from Troy Sand and Gravel. As I said, due to the instability in the price of asphalt, the market prices could occur, increases could occur. Prices could change monthly, and we are now paying more this year than we did 2019, 20, and 21. And a lot of it also has to do with the price of fuel, because it has to be trucked. And that the price of fuel really affects it. So the price of asphalt could change on a weekly basis, depending on what's going on. So, so we would like to be able to hire Evolution.
Yeah, we're hopeful that the additional funds that were allocated will, close that inflation gap and also obviously allow for a significant amount of more paving than originally planned. But we haven't started any paving yet?
We have not yet. We were waiting.
When will
Evolution is ready if we are approved tonight. When they actually will start, I don't know until I call them tomorrow.
Okay.
But remember that a lot of things affect that. What their schedule is, weather, the job they're doing. So, but I will give them a call first thing tomorrow if this is approved and find out exactly when they want to start. The board has already received our list of what we're looking to pay. And we're looking to finish Robinwood, places like that, and start some new ones. So hopefully we can get this started within this next week or so and start moving on.
I don't think we have received that list. If you have it, we'll take it.
I'll have to I wrote all over mine, but I'll make a copy and make sure. I thought Dan said you guys had it. I will send it to you tomorrow.
Right, thank you. All right, very good. Well, no better time than the present. The weather's been dry, so it's been good paving weather, and I think as you stated, the prices has changed, will continue to change think gas prices, oil prices are gonna go down anytime soon. They'll probably go up, if anything, through the summer, so. All right, any questions for Ellen?
I just got a quick question for,
Yes.
probably more for Tom. There's a note in the resolution request that the full contract from the county that we're piggybacking off of hasn't been received, or do we have everything we need to move forward on it?
I think you do. It was, as you can tell from what we got, it wasn't a lot there, but because it was Saratoga County, we talked to the county attorney's office and got a more clear picture of what's going on with it. So I would have no concern moving forward on it tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, and that county bid was done, early in the year. I can't remember what month it was, but, obviously I had known that bid was, at least taking place and, but yeah, it's been out there for a while. So, thank you for that extra step of, obtaining the information you needed on the, piggyback. All right, any other questions for Ellen? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 162 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal fund, federal aid and state Monticello program aid eligible costs of transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore. So 1 second.
All right, we're getting there. A lot of resolutions, a lot of long resolutions.
We are, and I did send an email to board members this morning, noting that we also received federal authorization from the Federal Highway Administration to move forward with this project. This is the Moe Road Gap Closure Project. I included a map just showing the scope of the project. This is one of those steps where now to go out to construction bid, we have to show, based on our engineer's estimates and what we anticipate the project cost to be, that we're committed to paying 100% of the funds in the first instance, knowing that we would submit reimbursement requests for 8% reimbursement going forward. The next step is truly just New York State final design approval. That was sent to New York State the same time we sent it to Federal Highway. So I'm hoping by the end of the week to be in a position to be able to go out to construction bid for the project and begin work this year on it.
Yeah, it's been a long process, but they typically are. So nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. But it's going to be a wonderful project when it's completed. It's been contemplated for quite some time, and great to see it coming to fruition this year. Any questions for John?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 163 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a lease agreement with National Business Technologies for a digital copying system for the use by the town clerk's office.
Do you want this, Teresa? All right.
Our old lease is coming to an end, so we just need a new copy.
All right.
And it's $135.46.
Go ahead and I'll vote yes.
Okay.
I don't want to get ahead of this.
The total account, total amount would be $149. If everyone says per month. Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stander?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Okay, any other business to come before the board? Okay. Motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry, public privilege. How you doing? I was looking right at you too. How you doing?
Good.
Come on up.
I'm giving this coupon to Linda.
Oh.
I don't want a cat, sorry, I'm a dog person.
I can get you one of those too.
Oh, you like
See, I
cats,
can
right?
take care of it.
No.
You like
I got humans as pets, sorry. I got humans I have to deal with as pets. Darlene McGraw, I live at 4 North Point in the town of Half Moon, but I'm half Clifton Park, half Moon, since I got a Clifton Park zip code.
Oh, welcome.
I wanted to talk with the town about potentially getting a complete streets committee, especially having one of us with disabilities on a committee, and also having somebody from the planning department or the town come with me for a walk. I am still encouraging somebody to come with me for a walk, especially around town center, to check out some of the problems that I see on a regular basis. Some of the problems is over by Park Ave, specifically by the Taco Bell. I almost fell again today a couple of times as I be trying to walk over to the Price Chopper area, because this area by Taco Bell, after you get over by 146 and past that little crosswalk they have, there's no safe place to walk on the shoulder. There is basically no shoulder, and the part that does have a shoulder, the pavement is so broken down, it really needs to have the pothole part fixed. It needs to, either you guys gotta put something temporary over it, or you guys have to try to ask the planning department to see if you guys can have eminent domain and ask for like 1 or 2 feet into like where Taco Bell is, and have them, add a little shoulder there. There should be no problems unless you have to get like Seeker or something else. Why is there a problem with adding an extra shoulder over there? Because it's not safe. If you try to walk there, good luck. And don't even bother asking when 12 days comes, because it's gonna be hell in 12 days. We all know when Citterley Road Bridge is gonna close. Hell's gonna freeze over. Also, when July comes, it's gonna be 32 years that the American with Disabilities Act is gonna be on July 26th. It's gonna be 32 years old. There should be no reason and no excuses why different places are non-ADA compliant. And when we have different projects, why are different new projects are not ADA compliant? We can have you guys put a mask over your eyes and see if you guys can cross some of these new sidewalks and new roadways. And if you guys can't cross some of these new roadways with a face mask on over your eyes, then you guys can try to see what problems people with visual impairments, or even like hearing like things over your ears, and try to see what people that have hearing problems can do, so that you guys can see what people that have hearing problems, if they can get across some of these roadways. Because there's people that have different problems that are having a lot of difficulties trying to get across these roadways. And these are just suggestions that I'm having. I'm not a lawyer. Tom's a lawyer. He's sitting right there. These are just different problems that I see, some of these problems that I have. And I'm just trying to give you guys some, not advice, but just some tips and tricks that I've known, and, come with me. I'm not saying go for like a 30-mile walk around town. Just take a walk around town center with me for a little bit. You see some of the major problems that I'm having, that it's just some suggestions that I have that, the town can learn from. And I get emails and certain things that maybe the town can get some money from, so that you guys can fix some things, so you don't have to use town money from.
Thank you, Darlene. Yeah, I was walking around town center today, as a matter of fact. So why don't you give me a call, and I'll meet you down there.
Okay.
Okay.
Darlene, I have a present for you. The last time you showed up with a Boston Lake or Boston Spa t-shirt, this is your new Clifton Park shirt. Hey, you're welcome.
Oh, you really have Clifton Park.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah. Now I can't come wear my Boston Spa t-shirt.
Original.
Very sweet.
You can wear that when we're walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have anything, John?
No, sir.
Eric?
No.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Holloway? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.